I got to warn you about one thing. I've been living in Los Angeles for the past 10 or 12 years, working on Marvel's movie and television projects. So I really don't have time to read all our comics faithfully the way I did years ago. So I hope you're not going to ask me, how come something happened to Wolverine last issue or something? And, you know, what's going to happen? I don't even know what did happen, let alone what's going to happen. But if you want to ask me about something that may have happened 30 years ago, I'm pretty good at that. Or if you want to ask about some of our movie or TV projects, or if you just want to sit and think nice thoughts, you know, whatever. But if anybody has a hand that he or she wants to put up, I will be glad to recognize it, and we'll get off and running with our questions and answers. I see a hand, red cap.
I understand there's a Fantastic Four movie in the works.
A Fantastic Four movie in the works. It is not only in the works, it's just about finished. It'll be released sometime, I think, the end of this year. And I'm not expecting too much of it. It's the last movie to be made that we at Marvel had no control over. Our lawyers just gave the rights to Roger Corman to do the movie. There will be no other projects like that. Everything after that, we're doing ourselves. But as far as that one, it was only a low-budget movie. I think they did it for under $2 million. So when you figure Batman cost about $80 million, I don't know that we can expect too much. But the guy who directed it, Oli Sassoon, is a friend of mine. I know he did the best he could. So it'll probably be as good as a $2 million movie could be. And I've got my fingers crossed. Yes, sir. I can't. Yeah. Thor used the same machine as Spider-Man, and he doesn't have a new costume, and Spider-Man does. I'll yell at the editor and tell him he made a mistake, and I'll get an answer. I don't even remember it, but thanks for it. I'm glad you're paying attention. Yes, sir.
Will you be writing anything else other than Ravage?
Will I be writing anything else other than Ravage? You know, as a matter of fact, I'm not writing Ravage anymore. I had to stop after the 7th issue. You know why I really stopped writing Ravage? Basically, I didn't have the time, but more than that, because I love doing it, I would have tried to make the time. They decided, and rightly so, to start crossing over the characters, like Ravage will meet Spider-Man, and, you know, they'll all, like we do with all our books. But since I haven't been able to read all the books, I don't know what's happening with the other characters. So if I had to have Ravage meeting everybody else and getting involved, I wouldn't have been able to write the other characters, so it would have been too difficult. So I gave it to somebody else, and of course I have ambivalent feelings about it. I hope the somebody else does a great job. In a way, I hope he doesn't do quite as good as I did. But we'll see. Yes? Listen closely in case I don't hear.
Mine isn't so much a question. I'm an old-timer from way back when. Remember an article you wrote back in the mid-60s? One of the soapboxes on bigotry and prejudice? Okay, I read that in South Louisiana back in the mid-60s, and that's influenced the way I thought about a lot of stuff kind of ever since then. And I just want to thank you, basically. Well, easiest way to put it.
Well, thank you for thanking me. For those who didn't hear, but you did hear. Thank you very much. It's a funny thing you should say that. You know, the X-Men is doing a promotion which will come out very soon, if it hasn't already started, with Pizza Hut. They're doing something about the X-Men cartoons, and they're either going to give away or sell or something, some little videotapes about the taken from the X-Men cartoons. And they wanted 5 extra minutes added to every videotape of interviews with me and with 3 of the guys who write and edit the X-Men. And they're going to put that on the videotape. And in the tapes, when we were talking, I also mentioned how the X-Men are sort of, we try to make them a lesson in bigotry and prejudice and showing that you shouldn't really dislike anybody because the other person is different. And that is the one lesson we've all, if there was any lesson Marvel ever tried to get across, it was, you have every right in the world to dislike anyone you want, but not because of his religion, his nationality, his color, or anything. Just as an individual, that's all. And now I'll get off my soapbox. Any other questions? Yes, thank you. What? Why was the movie Wolverine cut? There wasn't a movie Wolverine, so we couldn't have cut it. But I'll tell you this, there's going to be an X-Men movie. We're working with Universal Studios right now. Thank you. It'll be a live-action movie. It may very well be directed by Dick Donner, the guy who did Spider-Man and Die Hard. I'm sorry, Superman and Die Hard. It's going to be a very big movie. We're just now negotiating the contract with him. I might as well tell you about a few more movies. The Spider-Man movie, for the first time, Jim Cameron, who's going to write it and direct it, and you know, he's the fellow who did the Terminator, Aliens, he sent me the story, which he had just written. And I've got to tell you, I always thought that Cameron was probably one of the world's greatest directors, who also happened to be able to write movies. He's one of the world's greatest writers, who also is a great director. This story he sent me is one of the best stories I've ever read. And he wrote a note, you know, he's doing a movie now with Schwarzenegger called True Lies. And he said, Stan, I can't wait to finish True Lies because I am so eager to do the Spider-Man movie. I've wanted to do that since I was 14 years old. So he's going to start shooting it next year. After he's finished True Lies, it'll probably come out in '95. And I have a feeling it's really going to be one of the best things to hit the screen. Yes, sir.
Is Venom ever going to have a movie or unlimited series?
Venom? The question was, is Venom ever going to have a movie or an unlimited series? Let me tell you in advance how you can always answer questions like that. Anytime we have a character who is very popular, who sells very well, and you can always tell how popular a character is, we start using them as a guest star in every other book. You can rest assured there will be a series, because we're not so dumb. So when we get a popular character, of course there'll be a series. As far as a movie, you never know. The chances are somebody, if he's popular enough, somebody will sooner or later say, hey, let's do a movie of him. Yes?
Are you going to try to get a couple more characters into the future?
Into the what?
The future comic books?
Into the which comic books?
Future ones.
Oh, are we going to try to get a few more characters into the future comic books? Sure. We're always trying to get new characters. We're doing it all the time. In fact, I was at the Marvel offices the other day, and you'd be amazed. They're turning out over 100 books a month. You'd think that would be enough to keep them busy. But all the editors were sitting around. They were having a meeting. And they've got about 50 other projects they're planning. New characters, new stories, new type of books. I think there is more excitement going on in Marvel than you can shake a stick at. Way back there, yeah. I need you. Okay, you're next.
When are the new action figures going to be coming out?
The action figure, gee, I really don't know, but we just bought into this toy company called Toy Biz, and they are working night and day. Mostly the figures they're doing are for the X-Men, and they'll be coming out pretty soon. They're also going to do a line of Iron Man figures. They're going to do a line of Dead. I mean, everything we've got, they're going to, now that we own the company, I promise you, you're going to get more toys than anybody can afford to buy.